All right, hi everyone. Today I want to talk about why it's so critical that you are your own architect when it comes to your investment theses and also your valuation work. So I was recently listening to a podcast with Aswath Damodaran, who is sometimes referred to as the quote-unquote Dean of Valuation. So he appeared on the Investors podcast network, and he was talking about a bunch of different topics, but he was also talking about valuation. And what he said kind of inspired me to do this video. I'll later actually share a clip from that podcast so you can listen to it yourself. And of course, I want to encourage you to listen to the whole episode too. But the point of this video is that if you do want to invest actively, if you want to find winning stocks, you have to understand what you are doing. You have to develop, and this is what I addressed in one of my last videos, you have to have your own investment framework. So one critical component of everybody's investment framework should be valuation. And in fact, I believe it's important to have many different valuation techniques in your investing toolkit. Because if you have various valuation methods that you could rely on, well, you have the right tool for different investment cases. So just to point out a couple of factors that I think you have to take into account when determining what the appropriate valuation method may be, well, I can think of factors like business quality, business durability, business growth, which in a way is also tied to the maturity of the business, so what stage in its business life cycle it is in. The business model, of course, also plays a role, and maybe finally predictability. And all of these factors combined make you determine which valuation method to use, and maybe also, depending on the method, how long the time period is that you want to forecast. Is it going to be the next 3 to 5 years? Is it going to be the next 10 years? Or is it going to be the next couple of decades when you are basically discount all future cash flows generated by a business back to present value? And I think it's absolutely critical that you do understand the strength and the weaknesses that come with each approach. There is not the perfect valuation tool. No, every approach has its, as I just said, strengths and weaknesses, and being aware of them and accounting for them, and maybe even using multiple valuation approaches when trying to value one particular business can be beneficial. But of course, you will have to develop the knowledge when it comes to the different valuation tools. So first and foremost, how to use them, but then also what are some of the strengths and weaknesses of it yourself. You cannot rely on someone else's valuation work if you want to succeed in investing. And Aswath Damodaran, just to get back to the podcast I mentioned in the introduction of the video, he phrased it quite nicely in the podcast, because he said that he is valuing companies for quote unquote an audience of one. He's only valuing the company for himself. And other people will not be able to fully understand why he believes at X, Y, or Z as an intrinsic value estimate. No, if you want to invest actively, you have to understand how to value companies yourself, so you can be the architect of your own valuation estimate, your own valuation framework, even so to speak. And this is basically what I do in my mentorship program. I provide my clients with the tools they need to do the valuation work and also to do the investment analysis, business analysis themselves. I think this is the only way they can invest successfully over the long run. Relying on other people's recommendations and valuation work is a recipe for disaster in stock markets. In fact, I believe if you just blindly copy other people's recommendations, you are destined to lose money, because what happens is, or what usually happens, I should say, is when the stock at some point hits a rough patch, the stock declines 30%, 40%, maybe more than 50% over a relatively short period of time. You will get nervous if you have just followed someone else's recommendation. And this will not happen if you have developed the conviction in this investment case yourself, with the help of valuation tools, of course. So this is what I was thinking. So as I said in the beginning of the video, let me play a little clip from the TIP podcast episode with Aswath Damodaran to you here.
When I value a company, I'm very open about the fact that I value companies for an audience of one, me. My value drives my decision. It shouldn't drive your decision. That's why when I value companies, I provide my story and the architecture of the valuation to you so that you can disagree with my story, value the company on your own, and make your decisions. I think when you outsource investment decision making and say, I'm buying the stock because Goldman Sachs told me to buy the stock, or I'm buying the stock because Warren Buffett bought the stock, you're outsourcing your decision making. And we got to take ownership of our investment decisions, because that's the healthiest way that I can think of investing.
Okay, I think he was basically reiterating or stressing again what I was saying before. Do not outsource your investment analysis. Become a competent investor yourself I can promise you will do very well if you stick to this philosophy for a long period of time. I believe that if you have multiple valuation tools that you can rely on and you know which one to use for which kind of business, well, this is almost a superpower in investing. Yeah, with that, I'll wrap it up here. Just wanted to record a brief video on this particular topic. Let me know what you think and what your favorite valuation tool is. Take care.